I felt the need to add something in the mix, as it were, about this current coronavirus situation, or COVID-19. Now, I don't consider myself an expert. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a scientist, or I'm not a material scientist. But I am a metaphysical scientist, and there is an element of metaphysics that is needed to bring some balance to all the medical science and material science that is trying to analyse this situation. And I think that I'm just maybe able to contribute one or two thoughts with regard to that. You know, I'll be honest with you, I've in the past had a bit of a difficulty, a personal issue or problem with this medium of videoing, because I can't see who I'm speaking to. But in this current situation, I can. I can see you. I can almost touch you. I can feel what you're feeling. You may be anxious. You may be scared. You may be terrified. We're all uncertain. And we're all sharing the same types of feelings, albeit in many, many different circumstances and situations. But we all are connected with one single cause or mission or issue that we have in common. And that is to get through this situation that is currently disrupting every single person's life on this planet. Now I just want to add a few ideas today, that's all, in the hope that maybe it gives something new to somebody, to you, perhaps. The first thing that everybody is correctly saying is that it's important to stay calm, or as calm as is possible. Now, in a situation like this, where this virus is affecting your business, your employment, your family, your ability to go out and socialise, it's very difficult to say, stay calm. It's like telling a drowning man to stay calm. It's not possible just to instruct someone who is anxious to not be anxious. But we can be reminded that there are various things that we can do to restore a sense of calmness to our nervous system and to our body. The first thing is to make sure you stay in touch with your breathing. You know, when we're anxious, we breathe very shallow and very tight. Maybe we pant and breathe shallow and fast. The opposite will calm your nervous system. Try, if you're feeling anxious, to breathe deeply and slowly in and out of the nostrils from your diaphragm, your belly. Think of your belly like a balloon. And when you breathe in through your nostrils, you fill the balloon, so your belly expands. When you breathe out through your nose, you empty the balloon, and so the belly contracts. Feeling the breath coming in and out of your nostrils, slowly and deeply. Take some new oxygen in. Let some carbon dioxide out. Just as you're breathing in, give a little count silently to yourself about the rate of a heartbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out. 1, 2, 3, 4. It will lower your adrenaline levels, it will calm your nervous system, and it will quieten the mind if that's begun to be busy and thinking too much. Another thing we can do to stay calm is to employ what I call the stop-start technique. If you find yourself thinking and going into panic, thinking negative thoughts, what's going to happen, how are we going to survive, then try to recognize that and stop the action that you're doing. Even if it's just for 30 seconds, stop. If need be, stop still. Do nothing. Breathe. Wait for the thoughts to pass. Try not to give them any energy. And after a short time, 30 seconds, a minute or whatever, you can carry on with what you're doing. But stopping and starting. If you find yourself watching too much information on the news about the COVID-19 situation, recognize when you're getting drawn into it. Try not to get sucked into it. Use the stop-start technique. Turn the TV over. Find some ridiculous, nonsensical rubbish to watch. It will balance up the being absorbed with the negativity. So the first thing is to deploy all the techniques you can to stay calm. The second piece of advice I'd like to offer today might sound a bit strange, but I'm going to say, trust our leaders. I'm not offering this from a political perspective or any type of perspective such as that, but this planet, this world is, to all intents and purposes, in war. And when a country or a nation is at war, they must not be divided amongst themselves. And if we're not super careful during this war, then we even can be divided amongst ourselves. I'm sorry if you notice a sharp edit there, but the phone rang. I apologise for that. Let's get back. The second major point that I want to add at this stage is that we should trust our leaders. You know, the planet, the world, all of us are at war. It's as though there's a war on, an unseen enemy, but nonetheless, it's like we're on wartime footing. And when any nation or any people is at war, they must be united. We mustn't be divided. And the only way to solve this is for us to let go, perhaps, too much of our own opinions and trust our leaders. I'm not saying this from a political perspective or any kind of perspective such as that. But if we're not super careful, there can be those of us who think that the government should be doing more or others less. We should be more isolated or less self-isolated. All of these kind of things. And there's probably good reason for all of us having opinions. But, dear ones, we must trust those who are given the responsibility, the awesome responsibility. None of us would want the responsibility right now to lead the world's population through this situation. And you know, some people say this should be done, other people say that should be done, and both may be right. But the fact is, the universe is not worked out, it's not based on duality, on the law of two. everything in the universe works according to the law of three. So between this and that, there is the perfect solution. And so perhaps at this particular point, this unseen enemy could bring the world together. Perhaps it's not only an enemy. Perhaps it's a messenger. Perhaps we can look at ourselves and look at each other and be less opinionated and reach out more and embrace one another and love one another during this time in particular. And the third thing that I would like to offer advice on is, while all this crisis is on, remember, it will pass. Everything passes. And this too will pass. And I want to say, keep the fire burning. Don't let the fire go out. Because when this passes, you and your spirit, your relationships, your very being needs to be ready to engage in life beyond this crisis. And of course, I am a transpersonal sexual therapist. I've spent my whole life's work helping people to develop intimate relationships and our own sense of self and sexuality. So I'm talking not exclusively, but most particularly when I talk of the fire, I'm talking about the fire of your intimate relationship. Don't let this threat of our survival cause you to put your intimate relationship on hold. Keep the fire burning. I'm going to be putting out videos every week that is going to give much more helpful coaching, information about how to do that, how to use this time perhaps to deepen the intimacy in your relationship. I'm also going to be putting out short videos every day for the time being, simply to offer inspiration. We need to keep up to date with the reality of what's going on in the world, but that can have a very depressing effect on the spirit. Every day I find inspiration in my own personal meditation and spiritual life. I want to pass on that inspiration to you on a daily basis, if you would like that. I would also like to answer any particular issues or concerns that you feel that I may be able to give some helpful advice about in relation to your intimate relationships or your spiritual journey generally. Dear ones, dear friends, thank you for spending this time listening. I hope that something of what I've said helps you at this particular time. May you be happy and may you be healthy.